Ex-cop, military, something like that. The way you took out them guys shows training. Tech guy, offended by the hacker remark, naturally. Alpha. Mrs. Alpha. Joker.
Wrong. Double alpha. Man candy.
The most important thing in life will always be the people right here, right now. That's what's real.
No matter where you're from, the color of your skin, or the language you speak, nothing is or will ever be more important than family. And that is the one thing that has always separated the Fast franchise. There's more than one definition of family, and this family here truly represents that. It's something we work really hard to express, and our loyalty to each other is just as strong off-screen as it is on-screen.
The white picket fence is like an anchor on him, I can tell. I don't want him to be disappointed with his life.
Yeah, you're the best thing that ever happened to me.
The importance of family is always there, and I think that's really important.
I think something that Vin has done really, really well and worked really hard at is retaining the integrity of the story and retaining the fact that it is at its core about family, and it's about a bunch of misfits who have come together and are overcoming the odds. And I think that's part of what appeals to the audience, because everyone can relate to a different character or relate to the dynamic between all the different characters and their various different backgrounds. So I think that's part of the appeal.
I am really excited to see what's going to happen with the franchise once we've grown up, and we're at that point now. In Fast and Furious 7, you're going to see people who've outgrown a lot of things. And I think that, you know, there's a whole generation of kids and parents who went to go see these films with their kids, and they're going to be able to relate. So I'm always excited to bring that to the screen, because the relatability factor with this world of $300 million films and sci-fi, it's pretty hard to get there. You know, there's so much extraordinary things going on with the special effects, and you got robots and Transformers, and you got superheroes in all these movies that, you know, I kind of, you know, miss those family moments. And that's something that I think all sorts of different races around the world could relate to, and I'm very proud that the franchise stays true to that.
One of the things that I worked really hard with with Justin Lin in 5 was this sort of Mia balancing having children and her family, and also Mia seems to have this very intuitive sense about what's going on with the men in her life, even though they're not the most communicative. So she senses early on that Brian is missing something, because I think in 6 we decided to, you know, leave that life behind us, and I can tell that he's not entirely happy with his decision, which is a really hard place for Mia to be in. So it's fun to play that conflict, and I really respect her for being as stoic as she is, because I would go straight to my husband and be like, so what's going on? Like, and she knows that she needs to hold back. So she's a really interesting character in that sense.
One last ride.
Each installment of Fast and Furious has taken the intensity to a higher level, and in Furious 7, it's no different. We've upped the ante, and you'll see things you've never seen before, like flying cars. That's right, I said flying cars.
Okay, here we go!
And finally, this time out, my character Tez gets a little piece of the action.
This time it ain't just about being fast. I think what makes Fast and Furious such a powerful saga is how it's grown from its roots. The idea that we could even attempt to one-up the stunts and the action sequences is fun.
I think as technology changed, we changed along with it. It's like, oh, that's a new camera, and this is what we can do with that camera? Well, let's do it.
Now we're moving.
When I get to do an action sequence, I'm in heaven.
The choreography is intense.
Fire!
Daddy's gotta go to work.
And Dwayne has added a whole nother element. I think someone got rock bottomed in this film. When it comes to Vin Diesel and everybody in this cast for that matter, whooping ass is something that is not a stranger to any person in this cast.
My boys are fighting. I'm throwing down too.
Fast and the Furious is worldwide, and it's a tough act to follow.
The crazy thing is you miss the bullets. Everyone's looking for the thrill, but what's real, bro, is family.
You have to have a certain amount of chemistry with each other in order to make it work. If you're gonna make 7 features over the course of 15 years, it's not only chemistry, but you gotta get along.
I'm sorry to let y'all down.
I'm sorry to let you down.
What?
It's really cool that beyond action and cut, the people on this movie have really connected and bonded.
How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got?
Only 2 things keep a group like this together: fear or loyalty. And I don't see a drop of fear among you guys.
I think it's priceless having relationships on screen draw from relationships off screen. All the events of the previous movies, and even some events that the audience is going to get a real joy out of seeing in this movie that they've never seen before, that they know are in the mythology of Fast and Furious. Everything comes together in this movie.
You remember Owen Shaw? The one we tore half of London down trying to get. Well, this is his big bad brother. British Special Forces assassin. The kind of unique asset that no government would ever admit to employing.
How do I find him?
The official answer is, you don't.
He killed Han. Almost killed my family.
He also tried to put me in a body bag too. Which is why when I get out, I'm gonna put a hurt on him so bad he's gonna wish his mama had kept her legs closed. But until then, my official answer to you is stand down.
Now you know I can't do that.
I do know you, Dom, which is why now I give you the brother-to-brother answer. You do whatever it is you gotta do. When you find that sumbitch, just do me one favor.
What's that?
Don't miss.
It was imperative to introduce the next villain in a way that automatically affected you emotionally. Hello?
Dominic Toretto. You don't know me. You're about to.
Jason Statham is one of those actors that has always kept it cool and always kept it consistent. So he's a wonderful talent to watch, period. We needed a character that represented the location we just lived in for 2 hours, which is London. Jason Statham did that. We wanted to get a formidable character, but we wanted the character's formidability to be different than Hobbs's formidability that we, employed in 5.
Big bad brother. He's a Special Forces assassin. They created a monster.
Ronda Rousey, I felt like we needed some kind of fun, formidable opponent for Letty, because Letty now was her kind of superhero status was rising, and we wanted someone very Americana. I had a great experience with Gina Carano, so I felt like in the same way that we started to bring rappers in from Ja Rule in the first one, I felt like they bring something else to the table. And if you're confident about the filmmaking process, they have a wonderful pop on screen. I just love Ronda Rousey. I just think she's such an angel, and I was so happy that she was a part of it, and I knew she was going to have a very special moment.
Hey, Mark. And action!
Ronda Rousey is the game changer. She's so cool. You're gonna go for my neck.
Women can fight just as good as men can, actually better. And we're trying to up the ante a little bit.
I've staged some female fights, but it was interesting to have Ronda involved, and she has specific formal training. Even though she's playing a character, you want to see Ronda's sort of signature moves that you've seen in real life, so we incorporated that, but yet tried to make it cinematic at the same time.
Dude, she's awesome. She's so strong. She picked me up over her head like it's nothing.
Michelle's great. She's no newcomer to action either. She's had boxing training and she's done all the other fast movies. She wanted to take another step higher on this film.
I take it seriously because there's not a lot of really great female fights. I'll let her hit me in the face. I'll give it everything I got. The contact, the air made my nose hurt. I was like, gown and high heels was definitely the challenge part. I have a hard time with the dress. Okay, ready? Go. My entire career has been spent in a tank top and jeans. How about we throw me in a dress? Of course, I had to get bruised up in the process.
We constructed the wardrobe around the fight, so I could be able to, like, you know, pick a bunch of knees up and stuff. Ballroom dancing shoes are flexible. And the first thing I thought, I was like, oh my God, I could kill someone in those shoes, because that's how my thought process works. I fight on my toes anyway. My base martial art is judo, and all your weight's supposed to be on your toes. We could really do a lot of the same moves, and it'll look seamless. This is going to be a very different and glamorous look at a fight scene.
Of course, a character like Letty, in her prom queen moment, she's gotta have a throwdown.
It's like a super estrogen pumped all-female fight scene. It's so unique and cool.
It was fun. You'll see it on screen. I get thrown all over the place. It's bringing that raw voice of the streets to these heroic characters that you've never really seen that side be exploited in film before. You know, we're kind of glorified convicts in a strange way. How we got away with that with the MPAA, I have absolutely no clue. I guess because they have their own code of honor, you know, like a Robin Hood-esque vibe to it. So we kind of get away from with the trouble we cause and the bad against the law things that we've done in the past. But I'm happy. I'm happy because I feel like it's kind of like revolutionary what we've done with the ensemble cast, with all the races that we involve in one feature film where we actually get along, you know? I think it's beautiful. It's like a melting pot. It reminds me of the city, and you don't see many movies like that take and glorify certain facets of a lifestyle that usually are shunned upon by society. So I love it. I'm very grateful, because that's what hip-hop does. We're just doing it for Hollywood features. In my heart of hearts, I know that I'm fighting for those girls out there who don't think like your typical stereotyped female. She doesn't like pink, and, you know, it's not all about the boys. And, you know, we got lives of our own, and we have addictions of our own, and we've got adrenaline cravings too, you know. I love watching YouTube these days. You see things that you never would have seen a girl do, you know, 10, 14 years ago. It's just beautiful to me to see where we've come, you know, as women, just, you know, in the genre of extreme sports. I'm just really, really happy about where it's going. And I'm glad that the Fast and Furious franchise has so much to do with that evolution.
Michelle is just beautiful. Michelle's probably got some of the strongest looking calf muscles I've ever seen in my damn life. I would hate to get in an argument with her and have her to kick me. I would probably go flying. Yeah. She's beautiful. She's strong. She looked great. Shout out to Michelle Rodriguez. You are just... If you wasn't Dom's girl in this movie, I'd snatch you up in a minute. It'd be Roman and Letty.
There's some cool characters that come in and out of the franchise, and I'm always excited to meet them and to watch them in action.
We spend a lot of time thinking about who fits into the world of Fast and Furious.
Having Jason Statham in this makes such a huge difference.
James was very keen for me to come in there with a bit of a bang.
I'm here for the team that crippled my brother.
It's a brilliant idea for me to come in and do some damage to a guy that you could never do damage to.
Over the years, I've had the opportunity to fight a lot of Hollywood tough guys. Jason Statham, he's as advertised. That guy's a tough guy.
New Yorker.
Kurt Russell's one of my favorite actors. I think I've seen almost every movie he's been in, and we were just so thrilled that he even entertained the idea of coming and playing with us.
You know, when I was reading your files, I was impressed with what you've accomplished with your team, but meeting them now, I gotta say, you've truly got a gift.
Kurt Russell was just so much fun to work with. You could tell right from the beginning that there was a pride that he had about being a part of the Fast saga.
Let's go bag a shadow.
We're told the character of Ramsey is a hacktivist, and we all assume that it's going to be some nerdy guy, and then it turns out to be Natalie Emanuel.
The new character, Ramsey, she's kind of like the female version of myself.
What?
She gives us great humor, great sex appeal, and you believe that this girl could be that hacktivist. She's really good.
So Ramsey's really something new to this group for a start. I think the fact that she's British, I think she culturally straight away, she's kind of very kind of different. And also her interests are completely different to the rest of the gang. You know, she's a very hard-headed, she's a very strong-willed individual, which I think they all have that in common. And she's extremely intelligent, which she has in common with them. But she's, I think, she has I guess her passion is technology and it's hacking. You know, like the computer stuff is what she's good at, and she knows she's good at it. And I suppose in a way there's a kind of a cockiness to her, like, you can't tell me anything about that because I know what I'm doing, you know. And I think she probably rubs people up the wrong way initially because of how sure of herself she is. But I think fundamentally she's a good person. She's definitely a loner. She's not used to having people around her and having to work with a team.
Tony Jaa is maybe the most amazing athlete I've ever seen in my life. He did things, running, jumping, flipping, with such ease.
My character is strong, professional, action,
That's my character, badass.
Give us the girl, and I'll let you live.
Diamond's just the nicest guy in the world, but he has this intimidation with very few words.
3!
I was quite excited about coming on board.
2!
He's a very powerful character, very driven.
1!
And will not stop at anything.
We've always had a history of bringing people into the franchise. Every time somebody else pops up, it just adds a whole other dimension that we never had before.
Fire!
Know when the whistle go.
What's not to like? You've got this great cast who are just so cool.
I don't remember Roman having a woman that I could work in this close proximity to, being in my car, doing scenes with her, helping her, saving her. That was the first since Too Fast, and it was just good to have some femininity and smell some perfume occasionally, you know, instead of deep voices and beards and Dwayne Johnson's baby oil, you know. So I'm grateful. Roman's happy. Roman has to be the voice of reality, you know. While everybody else is just ready to do whatever the leader says, I'm not having it. I got a problem with authority. That's been the story of my presence in this movie. And, you know, and it's not because I just want to disagree. I actually don't agree. I think it's just stupid. I think it's just stupid. I think it's dangerous. And I don't think it's well planned out. So just count me out. But I can't let the team down. So even against my own best instincts, I'm in. Roman is in. I want some more skin in the game.
The repercussions of what happened in Fast 6 in London bring their way to Los Angeles, and it really starts a series of domino effects that really start to put our characters in probably the most danger they've ever been in the series. And they really are truly being hunted. Statham's character is really trying to get revenge. And that's kind of, revenge is kind of, I guess, the key word for this film is, but there's a lot more to the movie than just revenge, but that's how it all kind of starts off. And even Statham's code is based on family. You know, he's getting revenge because what he perceives what our crew did to his brother in London. And so they both have this code and this respect for family, but they're just on the completely different sides of that. The twist that was put into it at this time, which we call the snatch and grab sequence, is that there's no way in. There's no way in. They can't get in from front. They can't get in from the back. It's this road through this very dangerous mountain pass. What are they going to do? And they come up with the idea that it's one of my favorite sequences in the movie, where they literally jump their cars out of planes and use parachutes to land on this road and take down this convoy. And I think it's one of the best action sequences we've ever had in a Fast and Furious franchise.
All right, let's get to work.
Hey, Roman, you freaking out?
No.
Yes, you are.
Can somebody just walk me through what we're supposed to be doing?
Every time we come into one of these Fast and Furious shows, it's always, what can we do bigger, better?
On Fast, we always try and go that little extra mile and try and push it a little further than you normally would.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better, huh?
Here we go.
We're doing the first part of the sequence where our heroes all jump out of an airplane, pre-fall, and then parachute into the mountains.
There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There's 3
camera flyers, all with parachutes and helmet cameras.
We're free falling at 130, 140 miles an hour. And we have 2 cars. So there's 5 things flying around and a helicopter. We're in this helicopter trying to look at the shots, looking out for cars coming out. There's a skydiver to your left, there's a skydiver to your right, 300 feet. You need to move over, back up. There's so much going on.
We ended up dropping them at 12,000 feet, and they opened at about 5,000.
When you start throwing all those cars out together, you've got to figure out spacing. These things drop very fast.
These cars have a mind of their own. They're doing whatever they feel like.
They'll go really fast, they'll go really slow.
They might be going left, and they're going to turn around and go right.
They'll come at you, they'll back up. We're maneuvering our bodies under the car, around, over the hood to give them that shot that they're looking for.
We have to be very precise on our headings and our altitudes. We have to calculate a specific drop point so that the vehicles are not hitting people on the ground down there.
Skydivers and the helicopter and everybody has been getting amazing shots.
Look at that. That's fantastic.
Everybody, all you guys got amazing stuff. It was one of the most exciting moments I've ever had in my life, ever.
It worked out perfectly.
James Wan came to this franchise with a goal of making these fights individual, making them each feel special and each feel different in their own way. And I think the fight between Shaw and Hobbs, going through glass, over balconies, through tables, and I think this one thing he did a couple times in the movie where he touched the camera as our characters were falling, just gave a little different personality than we've had before. But they're all just really hardcore fights, but they're all very different. I mean, I think the Shaw-Hobbs fight, I would say that's like a fight where there's a lot of glass being broken. And the fight between Michelle and Rhonda is 2 women in beautiful evening gowns fighting, and then the fight at the end with Dom and Statham's character using these huge pieces of metal to battle it out like old-time warriors. Just they each feel different, and I really think James did a good job in choreographing and shooting these fights, and they're awesome. I love watching fights.
3-4 years ago, meeting with Justin Lin for the very first time and talking about this character of Luke Hobbs and creating a character that would resonate with people, creating a character that was charming, that was handsome, that was clearly humble, that was also just a badass from the word go, and that had somewhat of a cowboy sensibility, and also had a unique ability to talk a lot of and then back it up, but also, by the way, talk the kind of Hobbs speak. It's what we've coined it over the years. It's Hobbs speak. Talk that Hobbs speak, that Hobbs trash in that rhythm, the way he talks it, delivering those lines, but with a wink, and knowing that and the wink, by the way, is always for the audience, which is the way I always looked at it. So that was a fulfilling part about it. There ain't no damn team. It was just one man, and he's standing right in front of you. There's a lot happening in our stories, and there's a lot going on. So I like the idea of creating this guy who has somewhat superhero tendencies, superhero powers without being a superhero. If our reality is here, the hyper-reality for Hobbs is just here. Where you think, did he just lift that autocannon? I think he did. Ronald Hobbs. The opening with Jason Statham and the fight that we had was really something else, and it was very, very, it was very cool, and it was very special. I'll tell you why. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to fight a lot of guys who have great reputations in terms of being Hollywood tough guys and action guys and men of action. Jason Statham really takes the cake And I mean that with all due respect to the guys that I fought in the past on screen, but what Jason brings in this franchise is an authenticity. What Jason brings in terms of you see the guy out on the street. It's one of those things, this is the litmus test a lot of times, you know, where you see a guy out on the street who's an actor. You think, because I used to do this, by the way, me and my buddies before I got in Hollywood, because I never grew up in Hollywood and I wasn't in theater or anything like that. So we would see an actor out, if we ever would. The litmus test is, I wonder if I could kick his ass. I could kick his ass. He ain't tough. I know he's not tough. But what you get with Jason is generally the public out there knows that guy's a tough guy.
The lady was right. You are a terrible liar.
We find Hobbs in the hospital. There's a little surprise that we find, and we find that Hobbs has a daughter, and he's madly in love with his daughter, which was not a stretch for me, by the way, because, you know, my little girl is my everything. Madly in love with that little girl, and on screen, Hobbs madly in love with his daughter. And one of the coolest parts about it is, it's tricky because, you know, when you have a character like that who has established himself as a cowboy, as a loner, as a drifter, if you will, and does everything on his own, by his own rules, does it with a wink, does it with a smile, but he still does it on his own. And then you have just this little girl who you see lights up his face. But the coolest part about it is this little girl has Hobbs' DNA coursing through her veins, and she is whip smart, and she's beautiful, and she talks trash better than Hobbs, which was great. So when Hobbs comes to in the hospital, the first thing he needs to do, he just needs to see Dom and tell Dom, look, the guy we were dealing with in Fast 6, Shaw we were dealing with in Fast 6 was very dangerous. The man we're dealing with today is extremely dangerous, more dangerous. And the idea is to do our best not to keep him around, but to kill him. That's the one MO that Hobbs feels that he needs to let Dom know. And also, too, you know, that's one of those scenes that that informs the audience something that's very important, critically important, which is Hobbs and Dom are not friends. He tells the little girl, Daddy's going to work. And by the way, and it's shot in such a cool cowboy, old school Clint Eastwood way, and who I'm such a fan of, and James Wan is such an incredible fan of, where there's a nice push in. It's really heroic, but and again, it's shot in a way where when Hobbs says it, he says it in a way that hopefully, because it was my intention, he says, Daddy's going to work. He says it in a way that hopefully is going to make the audience smile and laugh. Not laugh at him, but laugh at the fact that he wants the audience to have fun. And, you know, I got to tell you, it's one of the most gratifying things about playing this character is just that type of connection with the audience.
We go to Abu Dhabi because the God's Eye is located in Abu Dhabi. There's a guy that, you know, Ramsey gave it to in order to keep it safe and protected. And we have to go there, and that becomes very interesting also because this is a very wealthy man, and you get to see what a wealthy man would do to protect certain things.
And action. Here we are at the Emirates Palace in Abu Dhabi. It's a bit different to what the Fast and Furious franchise have seen before in the past.
When I heard we were coming to Abu Dhabi, I said, yeah, that falls right in line where we need to be.
I went to Abu Dhabi about 2 years ago on a visit, and, you know, all the questions I got were, when are they bringing a Fast and Furious to Abu Dhabi.
Everyone in Abu Dhabi my age would know the Fast and Furious because we're into cars. We love it. You're coming to the right place.
Wealthy is an understatement. The amount of luxury cars and supercars that they have is out of this world.
We're in Abu Dhabi. It's a whole
We're out here today to scout for our many locations we have.
We're very fortunate to have a beautiful asphalt road that runs for 30 kilometers into the desert.
If you like to do desert, we have. If you like to do modern and exotic, we have.
We're definitely one of the very first Hollywood films to showcase Abu Dhabi. For Abu Dhabi, they could not be more excited to have us here.
Mark, they're proud of what they built here. This puts a spotlight on the city itself, on its architecture, on its beaches, on its people in a way that you could never buy.
Next time I go in any country abroad and I travel and I see people like saying, oh, you are from Abu Dhabi, we know that place.
Etihad Towers, architecturally, like so much here, is just iconic and lets you really create this outrageous stunt.
Crazy, right? No one's ever seen this before.
I have 100% stopped trying to figure out how this franchise is going to get bigger and bigger. It has far exceeded my own expectations, and I definitely am very blessed to be a part of it, and I'm just as excited as all the fans to see what comes next. It's as simple as that. I'm loving the ride. If people thought Luke Evans' character was dangerous in Fast 6, they have another thing coming for him, man. Jason Statham in Fast 7, the word dangerous doesn't even apply. I don't think there's a word in the dictionary for how dangerous Fast 7 is going to be. And then, like, how the hell, where do we go from there?
You're in.
You realize what this is? Like in Hypersport?
Before this movie, I'd never seen the Lycan before. That was a first-timer for me.
$3.4 million, 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds.
We really needed something that was just different. Something that you don't see every day.
There's 7 of these things in the world, and this guy keeps it locked up in a vault.
Nothing sadder than locking a beast in a cage. A car like that is very special.
So here we are in the penthouse suite, which is, in my mind, a set built to feature this car. What's behind me here is the W Motors Lycan Hypersport. It's twin turbo, 240 mile an hour top speed, sells for about $3.4 million. What makes it perfect for this location in our film is it's the first United Arab Emirates-based supercar.
The Lycan is one of the most exclusive cars in the world, limited to only 7 ever made. It has a flat 6-cylinder, 3.8 liter, twin turbo, mid-engine, producing 770 horsepower, 1,000 torque. It's one of the fastest cars in the world.
When you're dealing with an area where people drive their Bugatti to Starbucks, you know, what do you really find atop it?
The lights of the car are made of white gold, diamonds, and blue sapphire. You can choose the stone that you want depending on the color of the car.
It's so expensive. It's the most expensive car that we've ever used in the Fast and Furious franchise.
This is the first film that Dom is caught in a car like that.
Guys, get out of there right now. You've got an army heading your way.
Says we're taking the car. There couldn't be more of the antithesis of this beast here. But the sequence is so fun.
Tej gets to finally, unleash some of the fury and let everybody know that he also knows some great martial arts. And I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. So I'm happy to get a part of the action. And again, this leads down a road where you never know what can happen next.
For where the characters ultimately need to go, we need to start from a place of familiarity. They need to go, okay, this is what we've fought so hard to come back to. We've traveled around the world, they've made a lot of money, and now, they've been pardoned for the stuff they've done in the past, and now they can come back home. But then what they ultimately realize is maybe this isn't the life for us anymore, and maybe the kind of adventures that we've been on has become more of who who we are, who we've grown into. And so to start the movie with race war was a great signature way of saying we're taking these guys back to where they started.
At the premiere of Fast and Furious 6 at Universal Studios, I promised the world that our franchise, our saga, would finally return home. Home where it all started, here in California. You'll see why.
In the first film, Race War was much smaller. It's definitely underground. But 7 movies later, with how big, this universe has become, I think it's important that you show not only growth to the characters, but growth to the world that they live in as well.
It's 14 years of history. I know that I'll probably never have a franchise that lasts so long, an entire generation or two of fans that genuinely appreciate what the franchise did.
I always kept in touch with Vin from part 1, and so I know that they were battling for me to try to come back on.
Hector.
Yeah, what's up, man? It's a blessing, to be back and have a character that was so remembered. I'm like, man, finally they brought Hector back. What's up?
Get low when the whistle goes.
Race Wars lets me showcase a really iconic race, beautiful girls, cool cars, and a character arc, and I think that was very important.
You get to that starting line,
Are you ready?
you just care about one thing.
I know you're ready.
You don't even understand, how it feels for me, 14 years later, to be pulling back in reverse with the crowd of extras who are all obviously fans, because there's no way that you cannot be a fan of the franchise and be screaming in 110-degree weather while the sun is bearing down on you, take after take, and be showing love. They genuinely look me in the eye as I'm pulling in reverse. I'm shooting them with my iPhone so I can post it later. And, they're just showing love, and I can see it in their eyes when they're going, woo, woo. It's 14 years of history, and it's like an appreciation, and it's kind of like them saying thanks, Mitch for representing. And I'm like, yeah.
I think what's so fun to go back there as an actor, because the neighborhood has changed so much, and yet you go into that house and I see, okay, that's where I shot that scene with Paul, and Rob had that beautiful shot of us outside, shooting into the two windows, and it was just so cinematic. And then I remember Letty playing on the video game in one. So it's like a walk down memory lane when we shoot at the Toretto house. It's special to be able to do that. And it's special that it's actually a location, because often films shoot, on a stage, and then exteriors are at a location. So there's something very pure about that.
1327.
We're back home. Dom, you have a package out here. It's from Tokyo.
Tokyo? What's Han trying to convert me over to a turbocharger? We haven't been here since the end scene in Fast and Furious 6, so we were here in 2012.
Father, thank you for the gathering of friends.
Yes, the family all together.
Family all together. It was 12 years after we had filmed the same scene in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's rare to do a movie and actually return to the authentic and original location. This is a special location both for the saga and for us. So much of our careers started in this house.
Speaking for myself, the first time I was here, I had no idea what was going on. I was a little baby running around. But every time we're here, it just feels like the relationship keeps evolving and growing. And obviously, we've gone through so much, both on screen and off. I was just in the kitchen, and I remembered, oh, that was the scene I did with Paul, washing the dishes.
Now, you see, the cook doesn't clean where I come from.
Yeah, I'd like to go there. It's like every corner you turn in this house, you remember another scene.
That's so true.
I think why Deckard Shaw is such a compelling foe for Dom and the team is because of what Jason Statham brings to it. I think having Jason in this makes such a huge difference. He brings with it a sense of gravitas to that particular character, and he brings with it a sense of danger as well, because you know, Jason has his own history as well with the movies he's made himself, and so he comes into this, you know, with his sort of own built-in brand, and I think that's very important because you know, part of what makes this movie fun is seeing Vin Diesel going up against Jason Statham, or Dwayne Johnson going up Jason Statham, and the idea of this sort of triangle between these three really badass guys is super cool.
Agent Hobbs, right?
That's right.
I'm here for the team that crippled my brother. Everyone was very keen for me to come in there with a bit of a bang, do some damage.
Jason Statham is one of those actors that has always kept it cool and always kept it consistent.
Yeah, Statham. What a cool cat. It's pretty awesome to watch him in action.
Deckard Shaw.
British Special Forces assassin. Kind of a unique asset that no government would ever admit to employing.
Let's give this a go for Deckard Shaw. Blood is blood, and he's left with no choice but to avenge his brother.
Jason Statham's character is coming after the rest of the team, and he's coming after them one by one by one.
We're being hunted.
The family thing's a big thing. The similarity, me coming in to avenge my brother, and Toretto is all about family. I think it's a great parallel for the two characters. Never should have messed with a man's family.
I told your brother the same thing. The intensity that we had to feel against one another was deadly.
I thought this was going to be a street fight.
One of the things we tried to infuse into the fight is a bit of the personality of the characters, right? Personality of the actors. You know, trying to bring some of Dwayne's sort of signature moves into his fight moments and bring some of the things that Jason is so good at. Jason's so quick and so powerful in his moves. And those were really fun just to watch these two guys do, you know, go at it. And it was really fun for me too, you know, to be in there and kind of crafting this with them. You know, I got these two really big guys and I'm in there just going, no, try it more like this. Or what about more like to see the contrast of the environment they're in, the look that they have, that they're so beautifully done up, but to see them just go at it, you know, just go at it as hardcore and as tough as any of the guy fights that we have in the film was what made it really, really exciting. And once again, working with Jeff Imada to choreograph the fight, you know, to take advantage of what Ronda Rousey is amazing at, and to work her personality into the fights, and then to sort of bring Michelle's character Letty into her fight as well. You know, she's a lot more scrappy. She's not as trained as Ronda's character is, but just to see the two different sort of techniques and I think that, to me, I think the fight between the two of them are the most visceral, I think, that they're very raw and gritty. And I think that grit really brings an edge to the overall look.
Would you believe I knocked him out with my charm?
For Fast 7, I think the most powerful thing is going to be the legacy that has been left behind, you know, for everybody. Everybody who's been involved in the franchise, and the respect that we have for the family that we built. And I think that that's going to be the most powerful message that the franchise 7 has to offer the fans.
I think in Fast 6 specifically, you know, when we kind of played on Michelle's memory, you know. I think that was important to like allow the fans to know that we are paying attention to the series of events and just kind of the little throwback point of reference moments, and then the fans are like, I remember that. And I think it's important. I think it's more of a luxury that we're able to do that because there's so many movies, and to be able to make reference to storylines and actually interweave it into the story definitely has its benefits. I've never felt the responsibility of being funny than I felt in this one. And that's my truth. And, you know, even on the set, you know, just kind of behind the scenes, some people may think I'm just hyper and I just ramble and talk. There's a strategy behind everything I do. And my strategy was, because we all knew Paul, because we all were close to him, we have to keep our energy and the morale up because our inspiration is to keep going.
The Fast and Furious saga is growing up and maturing and offering aspects that you might not have ever imagined in such an explosive action film.
Who did this? You remember Owen Shaw? The one we tore half of London down trying to get. Well, this is his big bad brother. You do whatever it is you gotta do. Just don't miss.
War's coming. We're gonna face him on the streets we know best.
What separates the franchise in general is our ability to keep upping the ante, and every film becomes more and more intense.
We've taken stunts and the action sequences to the next level.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better,
What's really been taken to the next level is the emotional integrity of the film. One last ride.
I'm going with you.
The themes of family and of brotherhood. I've seen you be a good man to me and a great father.
And we all know that when it comes to family, it could get crazy.
All right, formation!
Because you're talking about individuals willing to take bullets for each other. You ride, I ride.
There's a line that's come to define what Furious 7 is, and in many ways represents the whole saga. I don't have friends. I got family.
Let's do this. This one's special because it's a legacy.
This time around, it's not so much about the speed of the cars.
I'm gonna get you out of here.
This one really matters.
You get to say goodbye to somebody very, very special. I think all the fans are gonna feel good that there's a respect there.
That sense of family that exists in the film actually bleeds off screen, and the whole world gets to feel a part of that.